The year was 2245, and humanity had achieved what was once thought to be impossible: contact with intelligent alien life. The United Earth Council, after years of careful diplomacy, had secured a seat at the Galactic Council's grand meeting on the planet Zathor, the hub of intergalactic governance. Earth's representatives, led by Ambassador Ethan Hayes, were filled with both excitement and anxiety. They knew the moment they had waited for had finally arrived. This was their chance to prove that humanity, despite being new to the galaxy, had a place among the stars. As Ambassador Hayes entered the Grand Chamber, he couldn't help but be amazed by the spectacle around him. Hundreds of species from across the galaxy were seated in a vast, circular hall, their forms ranging from humanoid to creatures of pure energy. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation as the Council began the session. The Galactic Council had representatives from the most powerful and advanced species in the galaxy. The leaders of the Altharians, a race of ancient energy beings, the Trogarians, a technologically advanced insectoid species, and the Vork, a wise, peaceful species from the distant edges of the galaxy, all took their seats. These beings had lived for millennia, their civilizations thriving while Earth was still struggling with basic space travel. The proceedings began with each species offering their reports on galactic events. When Earth's turn came, Ambassador Hayes stood up, his heart racing. His speech had been carefully crafted, filled with the achievements of humankind. The successful colonization of Mars, the advancements in energy production, the first successful manned mission to a distant star system, and the creation of peaceful diplomatic alliances with nearby species. But it wasn't just about achievements. It was about Earth's potential, about what humanity could contribute to the greater galactic community. "We come before you today as a young, vibrant species," Ambassador Hayes began, his voice steady but filled with hope. "Our world has faced great challenges, but we have overcome them with resilience and unity. We seek to share our progress and knowledge, not only to benefit our own kind, but to work alongside you, the esteemed members of the Galactic Council, to build a future where all can thrive." There was a long pause as the council members exchanged looks. The silence was broken by a sharp voice from the back of the room. It belonged to Zoreth, the leader of the Altharians, an ancient race of energy beings who had seen countless civilizations rise and fall. "Ambassador Hayes, we have listened to your speech with interest," Zoreth began, his voice resonating with power, "but your species has not yet proven that it can handle the responsibilities that come with galactic membership. Your technology, while impressive for a species of your age, is still primitive in comparison to ours. Your alliances are young, and your history is filled with conflict and division." The words stung. Hayes had prepared for questions, but not for this kind of dismissal. He swallowed his frustration and stood firm. "We may be young," he said, his voice clear and unwavering, "but our potential is vast. We have a unique ability to adapt, innovate, and connect with others. Our diversity is our strength, and we are eager to contribute to the peace and prosperity of the galaxy." Zoreth's eyes glowed brightly as he looked down at the Earth representatives. "The galaxy is not a playground for your kind to experiment with," he said coldly. "Your race is too unstable, too unpredictable. Your aggression, your history of war, makes you a risk to galactic harmony. You have not earned the right to join us." Hayes felt the weight of those words, but he didn't back down. "We are not here to cause harm," he said. "We are here to build bridges, not walls. If you give us the chance, we will prove ourselves." But the council was not swayed. One by one, representatives from the different species spoke, echoing Zoreth's concerns. The Vork leader, a wise, calm being named Isel, was the last to speak. "Humanity has much to offer, but it is too soon for you to join the Galactic Council. You are not ready. We cannot risk allowing an unstable species into the fold." The words felt like a slap to the face. Ambassador Hayes' heart sank as the final vote was cast. Earth's application was rejected. It was unanimous. Hayes returned to his seat, his mind racing. The words of the council echoed in his head. "You are not ready." How could they dismiss Earth so easily? He looked out at the vast room, feeling the weight of centuries of history pressing down on him. Humanity had been ignored, dismissed, and rejected. But as he sat there, a flicker of resolve sparked inside him. This wasn't the end. It couldn't be. Earth would prove them wrong. Humanity would rise, and the galaxy would have no choice but to take notice. The session ended with the Council's final words. "Do not interfere with Galactic Council affairs, or face the consequences." As Hayes and his delegation left the hall, he made a silent vow. Earth's time would come. They would show the galaxy that humanity was more than just a young species. They would show them all the power of determination, unity, and resilience. This was just the beginning. The rejection by the Galactic Council hit Earth harder than anyone could have imagined. For weeks, there was an air of disappointment and frustration, both among the leaders and the people. Ambassador Hayes had returned from Zathor, the hub of the council, with his head held high. But inside, he carried the weight of failure. The council had dismissed humanity as unworthy, and their words had stung deeply. But amidst the disappointment, something else began to grow, an undeniable sense of determination. In the years that followed, the people of Earth set aside their doubts and focused on one thing: improvement. If the Galactic Council wasn't going to give them the chance to prove themselves, then humanity would prove their worth in their own way. Earth would show the galaxy what they were capable of, not through words, but through action. The rejection had become a catalyst for change, sparking a new era of progress. At first, the focus was on uniting the fractured nations of Earth. Humanity had always been divided by borders, ideologies, and histories, but the rejection from the Council had created a sense of shared purpose. The message was clear. If they wanted to be taken seriously on the galactic stage, they would need to work together. Slowly but surely, political tensions eased, and the nations of Earth began to collaborate. It was a momentous achievement in itself, a rare sight on a planet that had seen so many conflicts in its short history. But unity was just the first step. Earth's scientists, engineers, and visionaries worked day and night to develop new technologies, fueled by the desire to outpace the expectations of the Galactic Council. Advances in energy production were the first breakthrough. For years, humanity had relied on traditional power sources, fossil fuels, nuclear energy, and solar, but none of these methods could provide the scale of power needed for deep space exploration. Scientists at the International Space Research Center, led by Dr. Lena Alvarez, had been working on a project that could change everything: erythonium. Erythonium was a rare and mysterious element discovered in a deep-sea exploration off the coast of Antarctica. Its properties were unlike anything humanity had encountered before. It had the ability to store vast amounts of energy in a small volume, far surpassing the capabilities of any current power source. Scientists were stunned by its potential, but the element was incredibly difficult to extract and refine. Still, the challenge didn't stop them. Dr. Alvarez and her team were determined to unlock its secrets. Months passed, and the small research team made progress, developing a method to harness erythonium's energy. They built the first prototype, a compact energy core that could power entire cities with just a fraction of the material. It was a triumph. They had cracked the code. This new energy source was the key to humanity's future, and the rest of the world soon took notice. News of the erythonium breakthrough spread like wildfire. Earth's energy crisis, which had plagued the planet for centuries, was now a thing of the past. But this discovery was just the beginning. With erythonium, Earth had the power to revolutionize not only its own infrastructure, but also its space exploration capabilities. The energy core could power faster than light travel, something that had only been theorized by scientists before. In parallel, humanity's advancements in artificial intelligence and space technology were growing at an exponential rate. The United Earth Space Program, which had been a humble endeavor just a few years ago, now had access to the kind of resources and technology that rivaled some of the oldest and most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. The first prototype of a faster-than-light spacecraft, powered by Erythonium, was under construction. It was designed to travel beyond the solar system, to the stars the Galactic Council had once deemed unreachable. As Earth's technology advanced, so did its standing among the stars. While the Galactic Council remained oblivious to Earth's progress, whispers began to spread among other species. Some, particularly those who had been oppressed or ignored by the Council, took note of humanity's rise. They watched as Earth, once seen as insignificant, began to develop technology that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. On Earth, a new sense of pride emerged. The people had once felt small, isolated in the vastness of space, but now they had a sense of purpose. They weren't waiting for approval from the Galactic Council anymore. They were making their own way, charting their own course. And with every new breakthrough, humanity's belief in their own potential grew stronger. But Earth wasn't just focused on its own progress. There was a quiet movement among some of the planet's leaders, a movement to help others. Earth had already begun forming alliances with nearby planets, sharing knowledge and technology with species that had been left behind or mistreated by the Galactic Council. Humanity's message was clear. We will not stand by and watch others suffer. If the Council wouldn't act, then Earth would. Behind closed doors, Earth's leaders began to plan their next steps. They knew the time would come when the Galactic Council would have to face humanity's strength, not just in technology, but in character. They would show the galaxy that Earth was not a planet to be dismissed. It was a planet capable of changing the course of history. The spark had been lit. Earth had a vision now, a vision of unity, progress, and a future where all species could work together. The rejection by the Galactic Council had been painful, but it had led to something far greater, a new era for humanity, one that would soon stun the galaxy. The years following humanity's breakthrough with Erythonium were filled with excitement and innovation. Earth's technological advancements were rapidly outpacing what anyone had thought possible. With the ability to harness nearly unlimited energy, humanity's dreams of space exploration had shifted from the realm of science fiction to reality. The construction of the first faster-than-light spaceship, the Horizon, was well underway. Humanity was no longer content with just proving their worth. They were preparing to leave their mark on the galaxy. But not all of the galaxy was welcoming. While Earth's influence was growing, the Galactic Council still viewed humanity as a wild card, an unpredictable species with too much potential for instability. They might not have been concerned yet, but Earth's advancements hadn't gone unnoticed. And in the shadows of the galaxy, there was a race of beings who weren't ready to accept that a species as young as humanity could rise so quickly. The Ziner Collective, a warlike species known for their brutal conquests, had long been a thorn in the side of the Galactic Council. Their aggressive tactics and expansionist policies had caused tension across the galaxy, but they had always been held in check by the power of the Council. The Ziner had little regard for the peaceful ideals that the Council upheld, and they saw the rise of Earth's power as a challenge they weren't going to ignore. It started with a quiet, almost unnoticed fleet of Ziner ships appearing on the outer edges of Earth's territory. Their intentions were clear. They had come to test Earth's defenses, to see if the fledgling human civilization could truly back up the claims of their technological prowess. Their first move was a subtle one. They intercepted an unguarded Earth transport ship heading to a nearby moon. The Ziner sent a warning shot across the vessel's bow, demanding it turn around. When the ship's captain refused, the Ziner forces attacked. It was a small skirmish, but it was enough to spark the fire. Earth's defense network, powered by the new Erythonium energy, was activated. The ship's sensors, enhanced by artificial intelligence, immediately detected the incoming threat. But what the Ziner didn't expect was the speed and efficiency of Earth's response. Within moments, the transport ship, once a helpless target, was shielded by a massive energy barrier. The Zinker's weapons, designed to cut through metal, were useless against the advanced energy shields. The Zinker fleet was caught off guard. They had assumed humanity's technology was still primitive, just like the Galactic Council had. But Earth's defenses were far beyond their expectations. The humans weren't going to back down. The Zinker ships regrouped, preparing for a more direct assault. Back on Earth, military commanders had been preparing for such a confrontation. They had been expecting it, though they hoped it wouldn't come so soon. The new human-built warships, powered by Erythonium and equipped with advanced AI combat systems, were ready to defend Earth. The Pride of Earth, the flagship of the United Earth Forces, was the first to enter the fray. Its sleek design and advanced weapons made it a formidable opponent, and it quickly launched into space to meet the Zinker fleet head-on. The battle that ensued was nothing like anything the galaxy had seen before. The Zinker, with their brute force tactics, were not prepared for the speed and precision of Earth's new military technology. The Pride of Earth darted through space, launching bursts of energy that sent Zinker ships into disarray. Each attack was calculated, each move deliberate, as Earth's AI systems adapted to the Zinker's unpredictable maneuvers. It wasn't long before the Zinker began to retreat. Their fleet, once confident in its strength, was now scattered and disorganized. The Pride of Earth pursued them, but not to destroy them. The humans were not seeking a war. They had made their point. The Zinker had underestimated Earth, and now they knew the truth. The Zinker commander, a ruthless leader named Veros, realized the gravity of the situation. He knew that retreating would not only be a blow to his fleet's pride, but it would send a message across the galaxy. The human race was not to be underestimated. Veros sent a message to the Galactic Council, warning them of what had just happened. "Earth is more dangerous than we thought," he said, "and if we do not act, they will rise to challenge us all." When the news of the skirmish reached the Galactic Council, it caused a stir. The Zinker were known for their ruthlessness, and if they were running scared from Earth's defenses, it was a sign that humanity had crossed a line. The Council convened in an emergency meeting, and the mood was tense. There were whispers of concern. Some members began to question if Earth was really as unpredictable as they had once thought. Others saw this as a test, one that humanity had passed with flying colors. Ambassador Hayes, who had been quietly watching from the sidelines, knew that this was the moment that would change everything. Earth had just sent a message to the galaxy, loud and clear. They were not to be dismissed. The Zinker may have attacked first, but humanity had shown that they were more than capable of defending themselves. This was only the beginning. As Hayes stood before the Galactic Council, he didn't feel the fear of rejection anymore. Instead, there was only one thought in his mind. Earth was ready, and the galaxy would soon have no choice but to accept that fact. The Zinker attack on the Outer Rim had been a wake-up call for the Galactic Council. The unprovoked assault had not only shown the strength of Earth's defenses, but also demonstrated something far more dangerous: humanity's ability to rise to any challenge. The Council, which had long dismissed Earth as a primitive species, was now faced with a problem they could no longer ignore. Earth had proved itself to be more than capable of defending its territory. But what did that mean for the larger galactic order? Ambassador Ethan Hayes knew the time for pleading and seeking approval had passed. Earth had tried to earn its place through diplomacy, only to be rejected by the Council. Now they had to take matters into their own hands. The people of Earth had united under a single cause: to protect their home, defend their allies, and show the galaxy that they had no intention of being pushed around. Humanity had always been known for its resilience, and now it was time to prove it on a galactic scale. The United Earth Council gathered in a secret meeting to decide what action to take. The message was clear: Earth was done asking for permission. The Zinker Collective might have made the first move, but Earth wasn't going to wait for the next strike. Earth's leaders had been prepared for this moment. The time had come to establish their independence from the Galactic Council once and for all. Ambassador Hayes stood at the front of the meeting, his face a mixture of determination and resolve. "We will not be treated as second-class citizens in the galaxy any longer," he said firmly. "We will not allow ourselves to be pushed aside, and we will not allow our people to live in fear. The Zinkar attacked us, but we defended ourselves. We showed the galaxy that humanity is strong, and we will continue to show them, with every action we take, that Earth deserves a place among the stars." The room fell silent. Every leader in the room knew what this meant. To go against the Galactic Council's wishes would be dangerous, even reckless. But the reality was that Earth's strength had already been proven. Their technological advancements, fueled by Erythonium, had given them the means to defend themselves. And now, they had a decision to make. Either accept the Council's rejection and remain on the sidelines, or take a bold step forward and claim their rightful place in the galaxy. "We must act now," Hayes continued. "If we continue to sit idly by, we will be nothing more than a footnote in galactic history. We have a responsibility to ourselves, to our future, and to the other species who look to us for leadership. Earth must stand tall, and we must demand to be heard." The debate was heated. Some leaders were hesitant, afraid of the consequences of challenging the established order. But others, especially those who had witnessed the courage and innovation of humanity firsthand, stood firmly with Hayes. Earth had already shown its strength. It had the technology, the resources, and the will to carve out its own future in the galaxy. After hours of discussion, the decision was made. Earth would declare its independence from the Galactic Council. It would no longer beg for acceptance. It would assert its place as an equal among the stars. The people of Earth would stand together, united in their resolve to protect their world and ensure their future among the greater galactic community. The declaration was broadcast across the solar system, a message to the galaxy that Earth was no longer willing to remain in the shadows. "We, the people of Earth, declare our sovereignty," the message read. "We do not seek your approval. We seek only peace, equality, and the right to determine our own destiny. We stand with all who seek freedom, justice, and cooperation. The time of waiting is over. We are ready." The Galactic Council, upon receiving the news, was taken aback. The leaders of the Council, who had once dismissed Earth as insignificant, now found themselves in a difficult position. Earth had gone from a quiet, unnoticed planet to a force to be reckoned with. The message from Earth was clear. They would no longer bow to the Council's will. The Council had to decide how to respond. In the midst of this, the Zinker Collective, still reeling from their failed assault on Earth, began to reconsider their stance. The Zinker commander, Veros, saw the writing on the wall. Earth was no longer a target to be conquered. It was a rising power, one that could challenge the status quo of the galaxy. Veros knew that the Zinker would have to adjust their approach, or risk facing even greater resistance from humanity. As tensions mounted, Earth's military began to prepare for whatever might come next. The Pride of Earth, the flagship of the United Earth Forces, was fully operational. The new fleet of Erythonium-powered warships stood ready to defend the planet if necessary. But this time, the focus wasn't just on defense. Earth had made it clear that it was ready to take action. The galaxy was on the brink of a new chapter, and humanity would write its own story. Back on Earth, the people watched as the events unfolded. They had seen their leaders stand firm, and now they stood behind them, united as one. The rejection from the Galactic Council had only strengthened their resolve. They would not be pushed around anymore. They had proven their strength, and now they would demand the respect they deserved. As Earth's message echoed across the galaxy, one thing was certain: humanity had taken a bold stand. The galaxy would never see them as insignificant again. The announcement from Earth had sent shockwaves across the galaxy. For years, the Galactic Council had dismissed humanity as a minor species, unworthy of attention. Now, Earth had boldly declared its sovereignty and its intention to stand on equal footing with the great galactic powers. The Council had not taken kindly to this. In their eyes, Earth's defiance was not just a challenge to their authority. It was a threat to the delicate balance of the galaxy. As the leaders of the Galactic Council scrambled to formulate a response, the people of Earth waited. They knew their declaration had caused a stir, but they were resolute. This was their moment to prove they were more than just a young species on the fringes of space. They had the technology, the strength, and the will to protect their home and their future. Ambassador Ethan Hayes remained at the heart of Earth's efforts. His once unshakable optimism had hardened into a quiet determination. Earth's leaders had made the right choice, he believed. They were not going to live in fear of the Council any longer. But as the days passed, Hayes knew that the path forward would not be easy. They were standing on the edge of something much larger than themselves. Behind closed doors, the Galactic Council was divided. Some members called for diplomacy, hoping to avoid an all-out conflict. They saw the potential for peaceful coexistence with Earth, despite their earlier rejection. Others, however, were less forgiving. The Council's senior members, those who had held power for centuries, were determined to make an example of Earth. They feared that if they allowed humanity to go unchecked, other planets would follow suit. A dangerous ripple effect could destabilize the carefully constructed order of the galaxy. The Ziner Collective, still recovering from their failed attack on Earth, were watching closely. Despite their retreat, they had learned from their mistake. Earth was no longer the weak, defenseless planet they had assumed. The Ziner were a fierce species, but they were also strategic. They knew that Earth's rise could change the dynamics of galactic power, and they weren't about to let that happen without a fight. Veros, the Ziner commander, began to rally his forces. He understood that this was not just about a single planet. It was about the future of the galaxy. The Ziner weren't the only ones preparing for the storm ahead. Across the galaxy, smaller factions and neutral systems were taking notice. Some saw Earth's rise as a beacon of hope, a sign that there was more to the galaxy than the authority of the Galactic Council. Others feared the power humanity had amassed in such a short time. The new technology Earth had developed, Erythonium-powered ships, advanced AI systems, and energy shields, was enough to make even the most seasoned military leaders uneasy. On Earth, the people continued their work in preparation for whatever might come next. The United Earth forces had expanded rapidly, bolstered by the power of Erythonium. The Pride of Earth, along with a growing fleet of new warships, stood ready to defend Earth's sovereignty. But while the military worked tirelessly, the civilian population was equally determined to contribute. Engineers, scientists, and diplomats all played their part in the effort to ensure humanity's future. The spirit of unity that had emerged in the aftermath of the Council's rejection was stronger than ever. The people of Earth knew that their survival depended on their ability to stand together. Despite the uncertainty, there was a sense of excitement in the air. This was uncharted territory. Earth was no longer just a planet to be ignored. It was a player in the galactic game, and it was ready to make its move. As the days turned into weeks, the Galactic Council grew more aggressive in its response. The first step was a diplomatic envoy sent to Earth. A high-ranking member of the Council, Ambassador Sorith, was chosen to represent the collective interests of the galaxy's most powerful species. His mission was clear: convince Earth to abandon its claims of sovereignty and return to its subordinate role. He was armed with promises of cooperation, trade, and peace, but he was also prepared to issue threats if necessary. Ambassador Sorith arrived in Earth's capital, a world of towering skyscrapers and bustling city streets, where people from every corner of the globe had gathered. The eyes of the galaxy were on them. They had dared to challenge the very foundation of the Galactic Council's power. Now, Earth would face the consequences of its actions. Sorith addressed the Earth Council with a cool, calculated demeanor. "Humanity has made its point," he said, his voice steady. "But there are lines that should not be crossed. The Galactic Council represents the unity of the galaxy, and if you persist in your defiance, you will find that the price of such actions is far higher than you anticipate." But Hayes stood tall, unwavering. He had anticipated this moment. "We do not seek conflict," he replied. "We seek respect. We seek a future where we stand as equals." not as subordinates. You may threaten us, but know this: Earth will not bow. We will never return to the shadows of the galaxy. The time for underestimating humanity is over. The two sides locked eyes, the tension in the room palpable. Both knew that this meeting was just the beginning of something far larger. Earth had taken its stand, and the galaxy was now watching to see how the Council would respond. In the days that followed, the Galactic Council deliberated. Would they attempt to crush Earth's newfound independence, or would they allow humanity to chart its own course? One thing was certain: the storm was coming, and neither side was prepared to back down. The galaxy was on the brink of change, and it would be up to humanity to decide its place in the unfolding drama. The tension between Earth and the Galactic Council was palpable. The message had been clear. Earth had declared its sovereignty, and now the galaxy was watching to see how the Council would respond. Behind the scenes, the Council's leaders were divided. Some still sought peace and cooperation with humanity, while others believed Earth's independence needed to be crushed before it inspired other systems to follow suit. Ambassador Ethan Hayes stood in Earth's central command center, gazing out over the city skyline. The calm before the storm was unnerving. The growing fleet of Earth's warships was ready, but the people of Earth knew that the time for war hadn't arrived yet. They weren't fighting for domination. They were fighting for survival. The Galactic Council needed to recognize Earth as an equal, not a subordinate. This was not a battle for power, but a battle for respect. At the same time, the Ziner collective had been quietly building their forces, waiting for the right moment to strike. While they had been humiliated in their previous encounter with Earth, their anger and pride had only intensified. The Ziner weren't just angry at humanity. They were terrified. They understood that Earth's technology and rapid rise were a direct challenge to their dominance. If they didn't act now, they might never be able to stop humanity's expansion. The Ziner commander, Veros, had rallied his forces and forged new alliances with other aggressive factions in the galaxy. His goal was clear: to form a coalition strong enough to not only challenge Earth's growing power, but to eliminate the threat before it could spread any further. His first target: Earth's outer colonies, which had been vital to the planet's expansion. If the Ziner could strike a blow to Earth's resources, it would send a message that humanity's newfound strength was still vulnerable. It wasn't just the Ziner who were a threat. The Galactic Council, too, had begun to take more direct action. The military fleet, led by the Council's most powerful members, was dispatched to Earth's borders. The fleet, equipped with state-of-the-art weaponry, was a show of force. The Council hoped that a powerful display of strength would force humanity to back down and reconsider its stance. Back on Earth, the leaders were well aware of the approaching storm. The fleet gathered around Earth's defensive lines, and Hayes knew that their time was running out. A war was looming, and they had to be ready. The military had prepared for this moment, but the people's resolve was what truly mattered. Across the planet, the citizens of Earth were united by a common cause. It was not just the military fighting for their freedom. It was every man, woman, and child who understood what was at stake. They had worked for years to build a future beyond their planet, and now they were ready to defend that future at any cost. On the eve of the final showdown, Ambassador Hayes addressed the people of Earth. His speech was broadcast across the globe, a moment of unity that would be remembered for generations. "We stand at the crossroads of history," Hayes began, his voice steady and strong. "The road ahead will not be easy, but it is one we must walk. Our sovereignty is not just a declaration. It is our right. We have earned the technology, the strength, and the knowledge to stand alongside the greatest civilizations in the galaxy. But more than that, we have earned the respect of the stars. This is our moment. We will not retreat. We will not be intimidated. We will fight for our future." The speech was met with cheers and applause from Earth's citizens. People from all walks of life, from the highest government officials to the most ordinary workers, stood united. They had never felt more connected as a people. They knew they were facing a challenge unlike any other. But they were ready. It wasn't just about the survival of Earth. It was about the survival of the values they held dear: freedom, equality, and the right to self-determination. As Hayes finished his speech, the command center buzzed with activity. The military fleet was in position, and Earth's defenses were fully operational. The calm before the storm had passed, and the time for action was now. The first attack came from the Ziner Collective. A small, fast fleet slipped through the outer colonies, hitting several supply stations with overwhelming force. It was a calculated move designed to cripple Earth's ability to respond quickly. But Earth's response was just as swift. The new warships, powered by Erythonium, launched into action. Their advanced AI systems allowed them to react faster than the Ziner had anticipated. The battle was fierce, but Earth's forces held their ground. The Ziner soon realized they had underestimated the strength of humanity's defenses. At the same time, the Galactic Council's fleet arrived at the edge of Earth's territory. The Council's forces were massive, their ships towering in space like silent behemoths. The message was clear: Earth was not welcome. The Council would not tolerate this defiance. But once again, Earth's fleet stood ready. The Pride of Earth, the flagship of the United Earth Forces, led the charge. Its energy shields glowed brightly as it engaged the Council's fleet. Earth's ships maneuvered with incredible precision, using their advanced weapons to hold the Council forces at bay. The battle was intense, but Earth's resolve was stronger. Ambassador Hayes, watching from the command center, knew that this was the moment that would define humanity's future. The tipping point had arrived. Would the galaxy accept Earth as an equal, or would they fight to maintain their control? As the battle raged on, the answer seemed clearer than ever. Humanity was ready to fight for its place among the stars. The battle for Earth's future had reached its peak. The skies above the planet were alive with the bright flashes of energy blasts and the hum of rapidly moving warships. Earth's military, led by the fearless Pride of Earth flagship, was locked in a fierce conflict with the massive fleet sent by the Galactic Council. At the same time, the Ziner Collective had attacked Earth's outer colonies, trying to strike a blow against humanity's resources. But despite the chaos, Earth's people remained determined. This was their time. This was their moment to prove they belonged among the stars. Ambassador Ethan Hayes stood at the heart of Earth's command center, watching as the battle unfolded. He had worked tirelessly for this day, and now it had arrived. Earth had declared its sovereignty, and the galaxy was witnessing their fight for survival. But Hayes knew that this was about more than just winning battles. It was about showing the galaxy that humanity had earned its place in the cosmos. They had fought for this moment, and now they had to prove that they would not be silenced. In space, the Pride of Earth surged forward, its Erythonium-powered engines propelling it through the chaotic battlefield. The ship's AI systems guided it with unmatched precision, coordinating the movement of Earth's fleet and ensuring they remained one step ahead of their enemies. Earth's new technology had given them an edge, but it was their will to survive that made them unstoppable. The Galactic Council's fleet, despite its overwhelming size, was struggling to maintain control. Their ships were powerful, but Earth's forces were faster, more agile, and more unified than they had anticipated. The Council's commanders had never faced an enemy quite like humanity, and as the battle continued, it became clear that Earth was not only defending its home, it was rewriting the rules of the galactic order. On the front lines, the Ziner Collective was beginning to falter. Their attack on Earth's outer colonies had been swift, but it had not been enough to break humanity's resolve. Earth's fleet had arrived just in time to intercept the Ziner forces, and a battle had ensued. The Ziner ships, while fierce, were no match for Earth's new technology. The advanced Erythonium engines allowed Earth's ships to outmaneuver the Ziner at every turn. The Ziner commander, Veros, realized that his forces were losing ground. His pride had blinded him, and now Earth's unity and strength were pushing him back. In the command center, Hayes received word that Earth's outer colonies had been successfully defended. The Ziner forces were retreating, and Earth's fleet was securing their position. But the fight with the Galactic Council was far from over. The Council's ships were still advancing, determined to force Earth back into submission. Hayes knew that this would be the final test of humanity's strength. "I never wanted this," Hayes said quietly to his team. "I never wanted war, but we cannot back down now. We have shown them who we are. We will show them what we are capable of." With the pride of Earth leading the charge, Earth's fleet pushed forward once again. The battle raged on, but Earth's resolve was unbreakable. As the two sides clashed in space, Earth's ships maintained their position, refusing to retreat. Their shields glowed brightly, and their weapons fired with deadly accuracy. It wasn't long before the Galactic Council's fleet began to falter. Earth's unyielding defense had caught them off guard. They had underestimated the power of humanity's unity. One by one, the Council's ships started to retreat, unable to withstand the relentless pressure of Earth's forces. In the heart of the battle, Ambassador Hayes stood firm. He had seen humanity's strength firsthand. The determination of Earth's people, their unity, and their belief in a future beyond their planet had made them unstoppable. And now, as the tide of the battle turned, Hayes knew that the galaxy would never see Earth as a weak, insignificant species again. With the last of the Galactic Council's ships retreating, Earth had won the battle. But more than that, they had won the respect of the galaxy. As the smoke of battle cleared, the galaxy saw humanity not as a threat to be destroyed, but as an equal to be reckoned with. The Ziner Collective, though defeated, had learned their lesson. Commander Veros had witnessed humanity's strength, and he knew that Earth was not a planet to be ignored. His retreat was not a surrender, it was a recognition of Earth's power and resolve. As peace slowly returned to Earth, Ambassador Hayes addressed the people once more. His voice was filled with pride and hope. "We have fought for our future, and we have earned our place in the galaxy. The galaxy will never see us as a small, helpless species again. We have proven that we can stand with the greatest civilizations in the universe. Our fight is not over, but today marks the beginning of a new era. Today we are no longer just Earth. We are humanity, a force to be reckoned with." Across the planet, people cheered. They had faced the greatest challenge in their history, and they had emerged victorious. The people of Earth had proven that they would not be ruled by others. They would not back down in the face of adversity. They would fight for their freedom, and they would fight for their future. And as Earth looked to the stars, they knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy had witnessed their strength. Now, humanity would rise to take its place in the universe, not as a subordinate species, but as an equal among the stars.